So this is going to be absolutely nightmarish to watch, because neither of them know the facts. Awesome.
It doesn't matter if it didn't bother, like, for instance, the teenagers, because teenagers can't consent to that.
He actually should have his whole life ripped away from him, for real.
And why are you trying to dox people, dude? That's weird.
Because I want to find who you are so I could call CPS and have them take your child away from you.
Dude.
Oh, I'm sure you would like
Scum.
to try to do that.
Absolutely, like, this guy is just total scum. You should lose your career for this. You should actually lose your career for this. Of any case of doxing, of any case of brigading, this is the one that should be punished. Why is Dean not given anything? Alright guys, so our favorite content creator, Dean Withers, is in a bit of hot water with a lot of people right now, okay? So there's this 14-minute call-in debate he had, or clip. And apparently he has advocated for his audience to call CPS on someone. It's a very touchy subject, CPS, recently. So he's getting a lot of for this. He's encouraged his audience to call CPS on someone. We're going to take a look at why. We're going to take a look at the debate. We're going to see how it goes. And he's responded to it. He's been crashing out over the response to this a little bit. So I'm hoping it'll be good. Obviously, recently, people were covering Dean talking about his anxiety pen. And I missed that. Because I know that the anxiety pen thing is the only competent Dean Withers, Dean Ringers hater. The only competent one. I obviously know the anxiety pen thing is a recurring bit where when someone mentions his vape, he pretends it's an anxiety pen as if he's like, for brand's sake, can't reference it as a vape. And he does like this whole little bit. It's a common recurring bit with him. It's not funny. It's very cringe when he does it. But what's even more unfunny and cringe is when a bunch of people run with it thinking he's serious and actually crashing out. That just totally ruins the fun. That just totally ruins all the fun for me. But now we have a real, authentic Dean Ringers crash out, okay? Very, very big stuff here. Very big stuff. Crashing out doesn't mean anything. Yes, it does, Smith. Yes, it does. Now, this is a cope. So crashing out doesn't mean anything because people say it so much. It just means tantrum. It means having a meltdown. It means it's like a synonym for all of these same things. It means the exact same thing as those. If you say crash out doesn't mean anything, then neither does like meltdown or tantrum or breakdown. Because they would mean the same thing. Anyway. Dean Ringers freaking out on the caller, calling CPS. Let's have a look.
This is what deranged cult members look like.
Why do you have to personally attack people?
Wait, do we have the start to this?
To send my kid in, it's no different than a baby.
Where's the start of this? He's already on when this starts, no?
This is what deranged cult members look like.
Why do you have to personally attack people that you disagree with in the debate?
Man,
it's a side thing.
Man, the thing here is, like, that personal attack, quote unquote, was as true as the claim that this guy.
Thank you for the $4.99. Saying bald sunglasses. Let's go. Show scalp, Dean.
Guy is blue.
Oh, okay.
And
sure
I have a question. You know, I just want to see like the bounds of your cult mentality here. Would you vote for Donald Trump if he perved on naked teenage girls? Would you still support him?
Yeah, you're gonna pull up this clip. You tried to do that earlier when you started the stream earlier.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see what your take on this is as a member of a cult that also happens to be a father.
So I believe, unfortunately for Dean, he is actually spreading misinformation here. Unfortunately. So apparently, this is about the Trump pageant thing. But the Trump pageant comments were made at like, I believe it was an 18 and over pageant. I don't believe it was actually about like a fucking kid's pageant. It was like a Miss whatever thing, you know? Right. Pull this up. It's the PolitiFact article on it. As waves of allegations of Donald Trump's inappropriate behavior towards females swept over the presidential campaign, reaction from around the country was swift. During October 12, 2016, meeting with the editorial board of Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, U.S. Rep. Dr. Ron Kind commented on the latest revelations. It's right here this morning how Trump would walk into the Miss Teen USA dressing room. All these 15 and 6-year-olds completely... 15 and 16, Jesus, year olds completely naked. Just walk right in on them. Man, is that the image we want of the President of the United States? So did Trump walk right in on naked 15 and 16-year-old contestants? We're not going to rate this on a truthometer, but some of the key sources are anonymous, but we'll allow what we do know about the allegations. 4 women who competed in the 1997 Miss Teen USA beauty pageant said Donald Trump walked into the dressing room while contestants, some as young as 15, were changing. I remember putting on my dress really quickly because I was like, oh god, there's a man in here, said Maria Bilardo, former Miss Vermont Teen USA. Trump, she recalled, said something like, don't worry ladies, I've seen it all before. 3 other women who asked to remain anonymous for fear of getting engulfed in a media firestorm also remember Trump entering the dressing room where girls were changing. 2 of them said the girls rushed to cover their bodies, with one calling it shocking and creepy. 3rd said she was clothed and introduced herself to Trump. Story also reported of the 11 contestants said they didn't remember Trump coming to the changing room. Some said it was possible that it happened while they weren't in the room or they didn't notice, but most were dubious or dismissed the possibility out of hand. Allison Bowman, the former Miss Wisconsin Teen USA, cast doubt on whether it happened. These were teenage girls. Bowman said if anything inappropriate had gone on, the gossip would have flown. But there was also this. Bilardo said she told Ivanka Trump, Trump's daughter, about Donald Trump entering the room while the girls were changing their clothes. Bilardo remembers Ivanka answering, yeah, he does that. Trump's words. 3 days after Kai made his statement, Trump talked about walking on the naked contestants, but that was in response to a discussion about the Miss USA and Miss Universe pageants where contestants are adults. Right, yeah. So the Trump comments in public were about Miss USA and Miss Universe, which are actually adult contestants. The 3 anonymous sources and 1 on the record claim they were 15 and up, but numerous anonymous sources claim that probably didn't happen. So it's the 15 and 16-year-old stuff is totally unconfirmed. The one that is confirmed is over 18. You know, the dress is everyone okay? So, yeah, you get the point anyway. I think we get the point.
Of what seems to be a little girl in your profile picture. Let's go ahead and roll the clip and let's see what your thoughts are.
As,
conflict?
Yes.
Well, I don't see it as a conflict.
It could be a conflict of interest, but, you know, it's the kind of thing you worry about later.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
You tend to think about the conflict a little bit later on.
The question is, how can it not be construed?
No, I mean, some of these foreign girls, you know, Mr. Trump, in my country, we say hello with vagina. And,
well, you could also say, as the owner of the pageant, it's your obligation to do that.
So you have done that. Now,
I'll tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And, you know, no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. You know, I'm inspecting. I want to make sure that
like
everything is
doctor.
good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? You know, they're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible-looking women. And so I sort of get away with things like that.
So this man has a daughter, but this man is also like just straight up a member of the Trump cult. So what is your takeaway there?
Wait a minute. So you're going to use him talking about how he has to inspect the people of a beauty pageant and saying that they're beautiful, good-looking women when the whole point of judging a pageant, beauty pageant...
So, okay, both sides are going to be retarded because Dean is going to claim that's about little girls and this guy is going to claim that's about a genuine like inspection for the competition. So this is going to be absolutely nightmarish to watch because neither of them know the facts. Awesome.
Is how good-looking the women are? What?
Okay. All right.
That's the whole purpose. So every judge of a beauty pageant is that same person, and they're a creep, and they go after little girls.
So the beauty the pageant judges, they'll judge.
He owns the pageant.
So the judges they'll judge them when they're on stage. Right.
Oh
Donald Trump didn't look at them while they were on stage. I mean, as he said in the clip,
he said that they were beautiful, they look good, and you're going to sit here and say he's going after little girls. But you got another guy who's dimensional.
He went into
he has dimension, and he's talking about...
Hey, Goatman. He went into their changing room, where only women and teenage girls were before the show, without their consent.
So it was not about teenage girls. Well, teenage, if you want to say 18 is teenage, if you're really going to pull that. So, I mean, maybe teenage, if you want to say 18, 19, teenage, if you want to do that. But it's very clear what he's describing. He's saying, you've got your daughter in your profile picture. You've got a kid in your profile picture. Why do you feel? Why are you being so weird about kids? Why are you defending Trump being weird about kids? This is where the CPS thing comes from, Stylo. Yes.
To look at them while they're naked.
Oh my God, he literally just said that I'm there to inspect the pageant. It would be no different than any other owner.
I don't see it as a
Just listen.
You tend to think about the conflict a little bit later
The
on.
question is, how can it not be construed?
No, I mean, some of these foreign girls, Mr. Trump, in my country, we say hello with vagina. And
Well, you could also say, as the owner of the pageant, it's your obligation to do that.
So you have done that. Now, tell me
I'll tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show.
Okay, so right now, already off the bat,
Miss
we know
Teen
that he's
USA is
going
14 to 19. Yeah, but this isn't about Miss Teen USA.
backstage before the show. Judges don't go back. One moment. Judges don't go backstage before the show. Judges judge during the show. So that first comment was ridiculous.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And,
So he goes backstage before the show while everyone is getting dressed.
Someone somewhere, I don't know what you're saying. He has specifically got... We just read the fucking article. Dude. We just read the fucking article. You're telling me PolitiFact is wrong when it says, 3 days before Kind made a statement, CNN reported on comments Trump has made about women to talk radio show host Howard Stern over the years. In a 2005 interview, Trump talked about walking in on naked contestants, but that was in response to a discussion about Miss USA and Miss Universe pageants, whose contestants are adults. So, very clearly, it's about this clip to Howard Stern. Miss USA and Miss Universe. It is about that. That is what's happening.
Okay, so we now know that they're in their dressing room.
no men are anywhere.
And this comment is even further justified because he just said no men are anywhere. Listen to that.
Before a show.
Yes.
And everyone
What do you mean, according to... Dude, you're actually so fucking stupid. What do you mean, according to what in the article? I just read you the exact relevant paragraph that explains was in response to a discussion about Miss USA and Miss Universe pageants, whose contestants are adults. What are you not getting? In that Howard Stern episode, they are talking about Miss Universe and Miss USA. Trump is talking about that, and the response he gives is the one we hear. What are you not getting? Why can't that be heard? Because Dean isn't playing the full episode of the Howard Stern show. Okay, you understand this? That's not the full beginning to end episode of Howard Stern interviewing Donald Trump. You realize that? So, before that clip, there is obviously reference, as reported by PolitiFact, which I hope you're not saying PolitiFact are just lying in favor of Trump. I hope this isn't seriously what you're saying. Oh, I don't know. I don't trust PolitiFact to not lie in favor of Trump. So I think we should go and find the full Howard Stern show episode to go and find the exact context and make sure that PolitiFact aren't lying in favor of Donald Trump. Is this really what we think is happening? This is credible. This is PolitiFact. You want to spend the next 20 minutes finding the full interview. Full Howard Stern, Trump, 2005 interview. Guys, we're going to totally expose PolitiFact here. Someone somewhere got it, guys. He got it. We're going to totally expose him now. Holy shit, they're going to have lied about Trump. We need this derail. We need this endless skepticism of obvious. Oh, wait. Oh.
Who was Miss Universe last year from Australia?
Forget
who you
that.
probably
Give me
interviewed.
a famous person.
I'll tell you. Do you remember when you had Miss Universe on from Russia?
Yes, beautiful woman. But give
Oh,
me
they're
a
talking about Miss Universe and Miss USA in the fucking interview. Okay. Enjoy. 24 hours. See you later, retard.
everyone's getting dressed.
Well, great
and
use of my
ready and
time.
everything else, and no men are anywhere.
So he's going into the woman's dressing room.
I'm actually going to
before the
undo that. I'm going to undo that. Because I actually don't mind someone somewhere usually. I don't know why he's been so retarded today. The idea that you would sit there and go, oh, according to what? According to what? According to PolitiFact, dude. You don't trust PolitiFact now. You need to go and check every claim in a PolitiFact article. You can't just take a credible piece of reporting for the sake of a YouTube segment. You can't just take that. For the sake of a YouTube segment, you take reporting from a credible outlet of a widely known fact that occurred on a public platform, on a public radio show, with one of the most famous radio show hosts in history, with the fucking twice president of the United States of America, one of the most famous men in history. You can't just take that as like, okay, that probably happened. Yeah, if PolitiFact are reporting that is how the conversation happened, that's what... mind-blowing. Mind-blowing, truly. And yes, I do need to spend 10 minutes talking about this to explain how fucking stupid it is to not take the credibility of PolitiFact for the sake of a YouTube segment. Holy fuck.
So, where there's no men.
And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. You know, I'm inspecting. I want to make sure that
You're like
everything is
doctor.
good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay?
So then he says that he's allowed to do it because he's the owner, meaning that he allowed himself. And he says he does it because he's inspecting it as a joke to cover up the fact that he wants to look at the women and the girls. And this
so he's saying women and girls. It ain't about girls. It ain't about kids.
In the room because she laughs. And this joke is also...
It's easy enough to call Trump a pedophile without lying about the quotes he's had. It is easy enough to call Trump a pedophile, to accuse him of wanting to fuck his daughter, without having to lie about this one Howard Stern interview.
Picked up on by Howard Stern because he says, right, you're like a doctor.
Kuihman is
right?
fair.
Okay, no, he's not like a doctor. He's not a doctor. He's not a
Thank you for
doctor
the
at all.
$10. Thank you.
So obviously, you're just making another counter joke to Donald Trump's first joke. And then listen to what Donald Trump says.
Hey, you know, they're standing there with no... Is everybody okay? And you...
So then we know that he's going backstage to quote-unquote inspect.
Slowly scrolling, okay? Slowly scrolling.
With no clothes. So they're naked. That's what you are when you have no clothes on. You're naked. So he's going back there to look at them while they're naked.
You see these incredible looking women.
And then he even affirms that. He says that he's looking at them while they're naked in a woman's dressing room. And he's seeing them. And now he's talking about how incredible they look like without clothes on.
And so I sort of get away with things like that.
And he knows he's not supposed to do this. He knows that he as a man isn't supposed to go into a woman's dressing room where there's no men around, only women, with naked teenagers and naked adult women, to look at them while they're naked. And then, therefore, at the end, he says that he kind of gets away with that because he owns it and he allows himself to do it. And none of the women or girls really spoke up at the time. So do we understand now this isn't just the same as like a judge of a beauty pageant?
So, well, I've got a few counter statements there. One, provide any fact of people being offended or bothered because he went in there and it wasn't just an inspection.
Okay, for sure. Well, first and foremost, when a man goes into a woman's only space where there's naked women, that's gonna be set up to be a bother. And then second of all, it doesn't matter if it didn't bother, like for instance, the teenagers, because teenagers can't consent to that. It doesn't matter if a 25-year-old man sleeps with a 15-year-old and that 15-year-old girl...
Dude, trust, the children consenting argument is about to go crazy places, okay? We're about to go crazy places with the child consent argument.
Seem immediately bothered because they're 15. They were raped, right? But third of all, they were bothered. Many of them have spoken out about this. In fact, we have one of them come up on this live all the time. Her name is Victoria. She was one of the 16 or 17-year-old contestants at the Miss Teen USA beauty pageant. And she comes up onto this live every so often, and she'll talk about how Donald Trump would walk backstage before a show. And you could even read the testimony of around 10 other of these women, some as young as 15, and how this happened to them and how it was incredibly traumatic.
You can provide that?
Yeah, for sure.
So now this is more accurate. It's slightly more accurate. He's still butchering the story, but yeah, there are anonymous sources that were in a room that had girls as young as 15. Yeah.
They're bothered because he went in there and it wasn't just an inspection.
Okay, for sure. Well, first and foremost, when a man goes into a woman's only space where there's naked women, that's gonna be set up to be a bother. And then second of all, it doesn't matter if it didn't bother, like, for instance, the teenagers, because teenagers can't consent to that. It doesn't matter if a 25-year-old man sleeps with a 15-year-old and that 15-year-old girl doesn't seem immediately bothered because they're 15. They were raped, right? But third of all, they were bothered. Many of them have spoken out about this. In fact, we have one of them come up on this live all the time. Her name is Victoria. She was one of the 16 or 17-year-old contestants at the Miss Teen USA beauty pageant.
Oh, wait, he has one of them call in? I didn't catch that the first time round.
I see Donald Trump.
Is her name Victoria mentioned in here? Do we have any corroboration that they're actually who he's saying? No. Okay.
And she comes up onto this live every so often, and she'll talk about how Donald Trump would walk backstage before a show. And you could even read the testimony of around 10 other of these women, some as young as 15, and how this happened to them. And
okay, the PolitiFact article doesn't mention 10 testimonies. It's 4 in this, so I don't...
How it was incredibly traumatic.
You can provide that?
Yeah, for sure, you could read their
no,
testimony.
You can provide that right now. That there are statements and testimonies.
Yeah, for sure.
At this specific beauty pageant he's talking about.
Yes.
No. Oh my god. Now he's lying. Now he's just wrong or lying. Was not at that specific beauty pageant. That's just not true. That was about an adult-only beauty pageant. Dude, Dean is just so retarded. This guy just sucks. This guy just totally sucks.
But can we agree that even if there wasn't from any of the teenagers, that that's still wrong because teens can't consent to that?
You're going to tell me that the parents of the teenagers aren't there either? I mean, I wouldn't send my kid to a pageant by themselves.
Do you think that a parent can consent to a teenager being perved on by an old man?
If they were telling me that's the whole point of a beauty pageant is people looking at teenagers clammed up, dude. I don't know what else to tell you. I think they're weird in the first place.
So you're a father.
You're glorifying young women and children in the first place.
So you're a father of a young daughter. Do you think you have the right?
I'm not.
Is that a young son?
Yes.
Do you think that you have the right, as the father of that son, to consent to having older people take pictures of your son while your son is naked?
If I was dumb enough to send my kid in, it's no different than a baby commercial for diapers.
Can you answer my question? Do you think that you have the right to consent to 65-year-old men looking at your son while he's naked?
I wouldn't allow it.
See, here's the thing is, you do have that legal right. Like, a parent has control over their child and can send them to a fucking pageant. Legally. If they want to. That is legal in the US. You can do that. Like, you can do that. That is a thing you can do as a parent. Whether you think that's good or not is like a separate issue. But you can do it. Now, this guy is saying, like, he's kind of making a retarded argument because he's adding on not just the... It's not just a matter of, can you do it? There's like this extra thing that's being baked in where he's saying, well, if you're stupid enough to send your kid to a pageant, who cares what happens, basically, is what he's saying. He's saying, like, if Trump walks in on your kid at a pageant, that's your fault. It's like, no, ultimately that's Trump's fault if he's walking in on kids at a pageant, if that happened, right? We obviously wouldn't say it's just the parents' fault and the kid's fault for being at the pageant that Trump walked in on them. No, it's probably the parents' fault to some extent. They sent their kids to a pageant unsupervised. Huge portion of that comes down to them. But it's also Trump's fault. It's also, really, it's Trump's fault. It's not just, oh, you were dumb enough to send your kid there, who cares? No, this grown-ass man walked in on kids changing, theoretically. Yeah, it's like a preventable crisis, exactly. It's like it's a preventable wrong. It's a preventable wrong. Why Trump is doing something wrong, but it's preventable. You could have protected your child from that very easily. You chose not to because you wanted to benefit from the pageant, and you knew this was a risk.
Do you think that you have the right? Do you think that you have the right to allow it? Do you think if you did allow it, that you would be violating?
And you can do it. Shut up! I don't care if you think it's boring. You poor sad excuse of a human. It's my money, and I'll throw it at my favorite Jew.
Thank you for the $15. Thank you, Childish. Thank you.
And the consent of your child?
They have no choice in the matter whatsoever. It's my decision as the parent. And I wouldn't put my kid in that situation. That's why I think pageants are weird in the first place. I would never...
What? Huh? What? That account just got banned. The account I was just watching that clip on got banned. Bro. When's this from?
As soon as I...
Hello and welcome. We're double tapping and share. Hello and... Hello, everybody. Hello.
No, the VOD's been taken down, man.
Hello and welcome into every...
Bro, does anyone have this clip? Oh, we gotta back up. We gotta back up.
Agree that even if...
Wait, no, this is the 70... This is a 7-minute one. No, no, no. No, no, no. Sarah Fields posted the 13-minute one, apparently. I don't see it. Oh, apparently this is... Oh, okay, okay, okay. So, apparently this clip picks up basically where we left off, anyway. So, apparently this is basically when we stop.
There wasn't from any of the teenagers, that's still wrong because teens can't consent to that?
You're going to tell me that the parents of the teenagers aren't there either?
I think we're fine.
I mean, I wouldn't send my kid to a pageant by themselves.
Yeah, yeah, this is where we were. Yeah, we're all good. We're all good, we're all good.
A teenager being perved on by an old man?
If they were telling me that's the whole point of a beauty pageant is people looking at teenagers clammed up, dude. I don't know what else to tell you. I think they're weird in the first place.
So you're a father.
You're glorifying young women and children in the first place.
So you're a father of a young daughter. Do you think you have the right?
I'm not.
Is that a young son?
Yes.
Do you think that you have the right, as the father of that son, to consent to having older people take pictures of your son while your son is naked?
If I was dumb enough to send my kid in, it's no different than a baby commercial for diapers.
Can you answer my question? Do you think that you have the right to consent to 65-year-old men looking at your son while he's naked?
I wouldn't allow it.
I mean, yeah, the unfortunate, under the law, you kind of do. Like, that is like baby commercials or pageants. Under the law, you kind of do. Like, I understand it's a weird way of phrasing it that Dean's come up with there. But under the law, you kind of do. It doesn't mean it's right to do it. Obviously, it's completely... Like, most people would say these pageants are fucking disgusting. They probably shouldn't be legal. A lot of people would probably say that. But, I mean, I would probably say you shouldn't have fucking child beauty pageants. That's, like, insane. But the point is, you do have a legal right. Currently, in the US, you would have a legal right to have your kid do that, yes. Yes. The adult is basically the consenting party when it comes to the child, in pretty much all cases. The parent is, rather.
Right. Do you think that you have the right to allow it? Do you think if you did allow it, that you would be violating the consent of your child?
They have no choice in the matter whatsoever. It's my decision as the parent. And I wouldn't put my kid in that situation. That's why I think pageants are weird in the first place. I would never...
Wow. It was nothing that crazy was said. Like, this guy's so performative. He's such a fucking loser, man.
Okay. So here's what we're gonna do.
So pathetic.
I think that you don't deserve to have any...
This guy truly deserves to have everything ripped away from him, actually.
So, for those...
He actually should have his whole life ripped away from him. For real. People go crazy at denims because she watched a Bad Empanada video that's six degrees removed, fucking fifth order, you know, outcome, CPS gets called. Totally, like, detached from denims completely. And it's like, no, denims deserves to have a whole life fucking ruined for this. Dean sits here, literally saying, call CPS on this person for having a totally normal take about, you know, how consent works in regards to child beauty pageants. And the fact that, while it's wrong to do, the parent does technically have the right currently to send their kids to a child beauty pageant. And he's trying to destroy this guy's life. Like, Dean, you actually should have your life stripped away from you. You should lose everything. You seriously should lose everything. How would you compare this to some of the worst stuff Destiny did early in his own career? Well, are we talking about early in StarCraft or early in politics? Those are a little bit different. Yeah, early in StarCraft is like DDoS Kid, Blue Tea. That's all pretty bad. Early in politics, you're talking like incest debate. And shit like that. Which isn't like so bad. Yeah, and the 15-year-old that he was DMing, yeah. That's early StarCraft as well. Like, this guy is just such a disgusting fucking brigading rat. Just coordinated harassment, like, just... He's just out in the open. He's saying call CPS on this guy. He's doing it all, like... It's, like, disgusting. It's just like the most blatant shit in the world. Like, even Destiny doesn't, at this point, get on stream and say explicitly, dox this person and report them to your authorities. He doesn't do that. He might say, I am looking for JSOX docs still. He might say that on his stream. But he doesn't just outright go like this. Like, this is so mask off and crazy. It's like your ego is hurt or something, or you felt on edge in that debate, and you're trying to, like, lash out and destroy this person. It's, like, so disgusting and... like reptilian. Yeah, he's way too comfortable just, like, absolutely lashing out at people. Feels like he's totally in the right. No one will ever question him.
Okay. So here's what we're going to do. I think that you don't deserve to have any custodial rights of your child. So for those watching, their handle is goatman91096. It's going to be their handle. If there happens to be anybody in here that's good at has like facial recognition software,
you can find me. It's fine. Nothing I said was wrong.
Okay,
I just said that the kid doesn't get to make the decision.
What's your name?
I would never put them in that situation.
Okay, what's your name?
And why are you trying to dox people, dude? That's weird.
Because I want to find who you are so I could call CPS and have them take your child away from you.
Dude.
Oh, I'm sure you would like
scum.
to try to do that.
Absolutely. Like, this guy is just total scum. You should lose your career for this. You should actually lose your career for this. You genuinely should lose your career for this. For just outright getting on stream, saying, yes, I'm trying to dox you. I'm trying to call CPS on you to have your kid taken away because they have taken a totally reasonable, though unlikable to you, position in the debate. There's almost no position in the debate. Like, you can maybe say, if they're debating, is it okay for me to free my kids right now? Like, maybe if they were debating that, you could argue, yeah, call CPS on the guy and dox him. But there's very few debate positions I can imagine someone taking where I would be like, yeah, dox them and call CPS on them. That's insane. That's like totally insane.
So
they would never even do it. That's the best part.
Okay.
Because I would take the part, and I have a witness sitting here who's heard me.
Yeah, even then it's like, well, he's probably fucking around. Exactly. Should you really start doing all that? I'm not sure. Like, yeah, I don't know what I can't imagine ever doing this. That's for sure. Okay, I can't imagine ever doing this. Someone says, yeah, I mean, it's up to the parent, really, if their kid goes to a beauty pageant. What did you just say to me? What did you... I'm swatting you right now. I'm swatting you right now. This guy has his wife held at gunpoint. He's like, okay.
Say I would never put my child in that situation.
Okay, so what's your name?
So don't worry, move the goalpost too, by the way.
So you said that you think that parents have every right to exploit and traffic their children. So
no, that's not what I said.
So I'm not going to debate it with you. That is what you said. So I just putting this out there for anybody. Feel free to, like, you know, take a profile picture. Maybe you could go on like
debate positions that I might consider getting someone's kids taken away for. Defending Arcane. Saying Cyberpunk 2077 sucked on release. And what else? Liking FromSoft games. These are the positions that justify CPS scores. Like, hey.
TikTok.com/his handle. You could save his profile picture, run it through some like reverse image search. Maybe it will link back to like a Facebook or something.
Well, I got 2.5 episodes into Arcane and I dropped it. Gonna be real. Never watched any more than that.
Find his name. And if you do find said information, that's public, by the way.
You're more than welcome to.
Feel free to take that information and report it to CPS. Feel free to take that information and report it to like the law authorities in this area. Feel free to take that information.
Yeah, every time I drop the truth about Cyberpunk 2077, there's always someone that's like, yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. And then there's a bunch of drones, total sheep, that will just endlessly go, No, but I saw a Crobecat video. But I saw the Crobecat video. But I saw the Crobecat video. It's pathos right now. That's pathos right now. That's a bunch of people right now. Totally fine. If you played it on a computer that was bought within the last 5 years, you built within the last 5 years, and you weren't running like no third world ass components, you weren't like, you know, on some fucking third world ass motherboard, you weren't playing on Xbox 360, okay, it was fine. It was totally fine. It worked, it was fine. You could play through it. There were some fucking retarded like T-pose bugs, but that was about it.
Report it to maybe is local CPS, etc., child protective care, child protective services. Feel free to do that. I'll go ahead and leave them on the live for around an
I'm not literally wrong. I'm just totally correct. That's just totally correct.
Seconds here before we kick him, just so you guys, anybody that's interested in trying to do this, can like grab his profile picture.
The police spawning thing, I will say, that's one thing, but that wasn't a matter of bugs. That was a matter of just like being a kind of unfinished game. I'm talking about running and bugs and shit. I understand there was stuff that people hoped for that wasn't there. People were hoping the train was going to be functional in the game. The train wasn't functional in the game. Police spawns were kind of janky at first. I understand there was stuff like that where people were like, oh, it was half-baked or whatever. Mainly talking about it being bugs, it being like actually unfinished. Being like actually difficult to play. It wasn't. It was like the game was there. It worked. You could play through it. It was fine. I didn't have any issue with quests not being able to be finished. I didn't have any issue with quests not being able to be finished. I had T-poses. And that was bad. I should have finished a second before I ran about this. That's very true. That's very true. That is a good point.
Anybody.
Someone started me on that.
Screen recorded over on the YouTube stream. This is all screen recorded over on the YouTube stream.
Let's refocus. That's a good reminder.
It's like is local CPS, etc., child protective care, child protective services. Feel free to do that. I'll go ahead and leave them on the live for around another 20 or 30 seconds here before we kick him, just so you guys, anybody that's interested in trying to do this, can like grab his profile picture. Anybody. By the way, this is all screen recorded over on the YouTube stream. This is all screen recorded over on the YouTube stream.
We don't have the full version.
So I'll leave him up here for
he
a
took
little
it down.
bit longer, so you guys can get his profile picture, get his name. Goatman, feel free to unmute. Is there any information, maybe even like his following list here? Is there any information that you'd like to give us about yourself? Maybe what state you live in, what your name is, any information like that?
Oh yeah, I live in Wisconsin. I have my kid. You're not going to do what you think you're going to do. I don't know what your intent is here.
Okay.
You're doxing someone because you're losing a debate.
What's your name?
My name's Thomas.
So Thomas from Wisconsin. What's your last name?
You're not entitled to that.
Okay, so Thomas from Wisconsin. That's a really good start. So he's from Wisconsin.
Yep.
Is your name Thomas or Nicholas?
No.
Your name is not Nicholas?
So hang on. So you said that I.
Okay. So he's
just like doxing him on live.
His name is Nicholas.
No, it's not actually. That's funny.
Okay, great. So you guys have now gotten everything that you need. Just
so he's just like doxing him live. Like, why do you not get any punishment for this? This is actual full-blown doxing, coordinated harassment, everything. This is the case of any case of doxing, of any case of brigading. This is the one that should be punished. Why is Dean not given anything? Why is no one complaining about this? Why is no one out here saying, yo, what the fuck? I'm not here being like, oh, ban this guy, ban this guy. But if anything was going to be punished for doxing and targeted harassment, surely this. Surely this. I don't understand what could be worse. Literally showing his address on screen would be worse, I guess. That would be slightly worse. But you've already said you've given all the information, direction to docs. All the information you can find, you've given. Given direction to docs. given direction to call CPS, said you want his kids taken away. It's all like, it's all there. Everything should be there. This is like the most obvious case where enforcement probably should be issued. Only something Clippers, including the preceding argument, derailed discussion here where I've seen it. What do you mean?
I think that we can all agree here that we care about children's safety. And that was a father that said that he believes he has every right to exploit and traffic his child, and that the child has no say. So I don't mind if you guys take that information. Now, don't post this on the internet. Keep this information with the authorities. You know, don't post this information on the internet. Use any information that you're able to find to go to the authorities. I fully support that. I don't support turning around and posting it on the internet. Take it.
But you've just been calling him for them to post it. You were just grilling him about his name, trying to get a docs confirmation. What do you mean? You're already doing it.
And anybody in the chat who says that was too far, I very strongly and staunchly disagree with you. I don't think that that's too far. I think that is a responsible obligation that any good person in society would have to do. We have an obligation to look out for our children.
Dude.
We really do.
You have no reason to believe they're at risk.
We're going to go move on to the next.
Literally zero reason from that conversation to believe they're at risk. If that guy was beating his kids or talking about fucking threeing his kids, yeah, I would get this. I would understand this. Yeah, we have a responsibility to protect children. Okay. There was nothing like that. Yo, thank you, Static Kitty, for the $50. Hugely appreciate it. Thanks so much. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Insanely generous. This is just, like, insane. The fact you can just get away with this. Why is it that people just get away with, like, actual full-blown fucking doxing now? There's, like, no enforcement. This is, like, as explicit as it gets.
But once again, don't take that information and post it on the internet. Don't take that information and, like, spam it in my chat. You take that information and you take it to the authorities. So, I mean, I really hope that there's at least one person out of the 11,000 people watching right now that has the, you know, the technical know-how, the ability and the skill to find that information, and the desire to then turn around and take it to the authorities. You could also find the clip of him saying that he believes he has every right to exploit his child off of my YouTube stream. And yeah, we look out for children here. We're gonna go to move on to the next guest.
Dude.
Everybody, just give us a minute here.
Disgusting rat fuck.
And make sure that we're double tapping on that phone screen in the meantime. Everybody do just be patient while we're getting the next guest up here. All right, we're going to move on to the next guest, everyone. Just do be patient for the 9.4 thousand people watching the stream, guys. Make sure that you're double tapping away on that phone screen, y'all.
There is a follow-up, yeah. Disgusting rat fuck piece of shit. Disgusting rat fuck degenerate filth piece of shit, seriously. What an actual scum fuck piece of shit. Absolute fucking scum. After some more thought, I believe what he said was extremely bad, and given the full context of the conversation, what he said is made even worse. He defends Trump looking at teenagers while naked, given that their parents are okay with it. So we heard that part, and that was not quite what was happening. But with that said, my response here to my community was not it. I could have handled it significantly better and dropped the ball. I absolutely will acknowledge that. And there was another tweet as well, I don't know if I've got it, where basically he said, I should have followed it. I should have pursued a private line of inquiry with CPS. So, okay, man. Okay. Dean Withers whines, complains, and attempts to apologize for trying to dox the family, calls them incredibly evil people, and hangs up on the wife. Dean also doubles down in his argument and twists the husband's words while crying about his being twisted. Why do you not get anything for just fucking doxing people? It's so crazy. Doxing and encouraging false CPS, actually false CPS calls. It's not just false in the sense there is no reason to believe that there is harm coming to the children. It's false in that it requires a total lie about what this guy said to make it work. At least in Ethan's case, it was like reckless statements that could be ran with. In this case, it's pretty clear. The guy is saying the parent has control over the child. You're able to consent sending them to pageants right now, and you shouldn't. It requires you lying about what he's saying to make it even get close to justification.
talking?
I
Are
don't,
you going to let me finish
I
talking?
don't think that I am, because I want to say something that is incredibly important. So in the last 24 hours, both you as well as your husband have said a handful of things. In fact, we even have quotations of them. Right? Your husband said that he thinks that the parents were within their legal rights to consent for the children to be viewed naked by Trump. He said that, quote unquote, as long as it's legal, he can't fault him. You can't fault them for it. You've said, quote unquote, that there was a business transaction.
Did he say that? Did he say, as long as it's legal, you can't fault him for it? Is that what he said? I
was looking at these naked teenage girls. It was a business transaction. On that panel, somebody else said, quote unquote, that CP is art. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know who that other person was.
And there was someone else said CP is art somewhere on the panel. Okay, dude. This guy is disgusting. This Dean Withers guy genuinely needs to lose everything. Seriously. It's so fucking disgusting. You are just desperately now. You have been caught for trying to dox this guy, for smearing him and trying to get CPS called on him, for expressing that you want his kids taken away. And now you are fucking lying about things he said, and including quotes from other people to make him sound like a pedophile. Scum. Filth. Scum. Actual fucking scum. Dude. Fuck this guy.
Was not. I have no idea who she was.
Alongside a handful of other things, okay? And the way that I responded to like the same sentiments that you're echoing now, and the ones that your husband echoed 2 days ago, right, was to turn around to my community and say, feel free to find public information on these people. Don't post it on the internet. Take it to local CPS.
I would
now like to say that I do think that was a bad reaction from me. I shouldn't have reacted in that manner. I shouldn't have like told my community to do that. That was wrong of me. Okay, I did drop the ball there. But simultaneously, like I think that like you and your husband are incredibly evil people, very, very evil people. And I think that the spin that this has led to on the internet with how people on the right have been referring to me, I've unironically had people refer to me as a P3DO. People's takeaway from me saying that parents can't consent for their children to be exploited is that I think that children can consent for themselves, which is false. I don't believe that. I mean, there's tweets now with like 20,000 likes saying, at Dean, children can't consent. It's a parent's job to take care of them, right? At Dean is a site.
Wait, what's wrong about that?
Believe that? I mean, there's tweets now with like 20,000 likes saying, at Dean, children can't consent. It's a parent's job to take care of them, right? At Dean is a...
That's true. Children can't consent. It's the parent's job to take care of them. That's true. That's correct.
Psychopathic narcissist, right? At Dean is a very evil all of these things, okay? Right? I think that that's insane. I think that's ludicrous. Okay, I once again, I'll re-agree that my reaction shouldn't have been what it was, to like call my fan base to find public information to take to local CPS. But
he ended almost every
there.
sentence with liberal upspeak.
Thank you for the $5. Thank you.
Should have done something else. But I do think that the beliefs of you and your husband are incredibly evil. The beliefs of you and your husband have been made clear. You've repeated the sentiment once again that your husband said that the parents were in their legal rights to...
Dude, everyone is literally on Ethan Klein's dick for the last 6 fucking months, trying to get Hassan banned from everything. And the way they justify it is, my CPS call. My CPS call. With no relevance to Hassan, no relevance to Denims. She watched one fucking video, didn't justify the call, and they will lie about every aspect of it to make it fit. This blatant, obvious streamer here just saying he's maliciously smearing someone and trying to get their kids taken away. And no one gives... There is no campaign to get him banned. There is no campaign to stop this guy doing this shit. There's nothing. But all the heat in the world because my millionaire... My rich and powerful millionaire who does not give a fuck, who CPS were never going to take his kids away, has all the resources in the world to fight it, has no relevance to any of the streamers he's fighting with. They didn't do anything. They've lied routinely to make it fit. That's the biggest thing in the world. This guy doing this, the most blatant, on its face, malicious bullshit ever. And no one cares.
allow their minor children to be viewed naked by Trump, and that as long as it's legal, he doesn't have a problem with it. You've told me that Donald Trump viewing these teenagers naked is a business transaction. Absolutely evil, completely evil. You've repeated that's what you've said, then denied it 5 times. Nobody knows where you stand. And I'm now going to do what I should.
Thank you for the 5 gifted, Nate. Thank you.
Okay, are you ready? Everybody watch this. Watch this, everybody. I'm now going to do to her, right, what my reaction to her husband should have been. Okay, I shouldn't have said, hey, community, I want you to find public information, take it. I shouldn't have said that. I really shouldn't have. That was a bad reaction for a billion reasons. Here's what I should have done instead. Everybody watch this. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next guest because what she believes in is...
And he kicks the guy's wife before she can actually, you know, say anything because he's a fucking rat.
Absolutely evil. It is so evil to suggest that
being evil,
looking at naked teenagers is a business transaction. It is so evil to suggest that parents are in their legal rights to allow an older man... believes in is absolutely evil. It is so evil to suggest that an adult man looking at naked teenagers is a business transaction. It is so evil to suggest that...
Okay, you can phrase it to make it sound pedophilic, but there are a million ways in which that happens, and it is just a fucking, like, business transaction. Like, yes, pageants fucking happen. Yes, when you pay a fucking doctor to look at your kid, that's a business transaction. Like, there's a million ways in which you can phrase that. I understand that's not what's being described right now. But there's you are phrasing it deliberately in the most insane way that he didn't agree to, that guy did not agree to. His point was not Trump walking in on the changing room is just a business transaction. That's not what that guy was saying at all. He was saying he was basically saying it's a negative, but it's one that the parent has to be in control of, right? It's the parent's responsibility to not send your fucking kid to a pageant show. That's the point, right? It's not just, it's a business transaction. If Trump wants to pay to look at your kids, he can do what he wants. No, it's on the parents. It's the parents' job to not let that happen, obviously.
Parents are in their legal rights to allow an older man to view their children naked, okay? It is so evil to suggest that even if it was legal, therefore, they shouldn't have a problem with it. It is so evil to suggest those things. Incredibly, incredibly evil. And now, let's go ahead and move on to the next guest, everybody. Lauren, thank you for the community.
Dude, this guy's an actual filth.
Thank you so much. And I'm so happy I could clear the air on all of that as well, okay? Right? Because, you know, from what's been posted on the internet, you know, you get that clip without the context of what that guy believes in, of me just saying...
Yeah, dude, actually, no, I'm convinced Dean Withers is controlled opposition. This guy's paid by Nambla to make arguments against pedophiles. Sounds stupid, okay? That's a pretty sure that's how this guy's pretty sure it's this guy's job.
Guys, find his public information, don't post it on the internet, take it to the CBS. I shouldn't have given that reaction. I shouldn't have told you guys to do that, okay? Right? That was wrong of me. I dropped the ball, right? That's what my reaction should have been instead. Now, let's go ahead and move on to the next guest. Everyone just give us a minute to get that next guest up in here, y'all.
Wow, this guy is actually just total scum.
We're going to go ahead and get that next guest, Aiden, loaded into the live. Everybody just be patient while we get that next Trump supporter to load in, y'all.
Truly fucking filth.
Next Trump supporter to load in. Here we go, y'all. Also, make sure that we are double tapping away in that phone screen and sharing out this live with a handful of friends.
I did not mean to request, my bad.
No worries, Aiden. If you happen to be...
Whoops. Wrong link. Here is a couple, husband and wife, many on the right have chosen to label as innocent.
Like the very first, so yesterday, like the other day when we were talking at the start of the conversation, you know, like the very first thing that was said was, here's Donald Trump walking into the changing rooms of these naked teens. And what was your first response to that?
Did the parents give consent? Did they allow it?
Goatman, precisely. I don't think that a parent can allow for their underage teen to be perved on.
Okay. They can. They shouldn't. Right? Able to. Physically able to. Physically able to. Possibly legally able to. can. Shouldn't, it's morally wrong. Right? Are we understanding the difference between these words? There's like a... Like, it's just a pure... retarded semantic game that is being played here.
You don't think, or that's the law? There's a difference. There's a huge difference. What's the law?
Wait, are you... So, no, that's actually not the law. It is...
What is the law, Dean? What is the age of consent? What is the law?
We're talking about teenagers, under 18 here.
Right, and they don't have the legal authority to make that consent. So whose responsibility is it then? Who is it? Is it God? It's not God. Who is it?
So the child can't consent to sex, and the parent can't consent to the child having sex.
So where does the consent fall?
Because nobody.
When you go to the doctor's office, when kids go on field trips, who's signing the papers? Because it's not the child. From my research, statements from the girl specifically that he went and saw it in the changing room said that it was more transactional than anything. If anything, because these girls are competing against each other, they went to Donald Trump when he was back there to get some sort of not promotion, but like to get some sort of like feedback and transactional advice from the guy because he's a businessman. This is exactly what these women that were back there have said on BuzzFeed. I've seen it. I've read it.
What do you mean it was transactional when?
Okay, she's referencing this BuzzFeed article. Let's pull up the BuzzFeed article. Let's see this. Okay. After BuzzFeed News published story, we heard from a fifth contestant who remembered Trump visiting the dressing room. Okay. 4 women who competed in the 1997 Miss Teen USA beauty pageant said Donald Trump walked into the dressing room while contestants, some as young as 15, were changing. But we'll address very quickly. We read this bit already in the previous article. Don't worry, ladies. Seen it all before. We saw that one in the previous article. Shocking and creepy. 11 of these contestants reached by BuzzFeed News. So yeah, 11 contestants did not recall seeing Trump in the dressing room. Some said they did not believe he could have been there. 34 declined to talk, could not be reached. 15 women were interviewed. None accused Trump of saying anything sexually explicit or making physical contact in the dressing room. Go backstage for a show and everyone's getting dressed. But he's talking about Miss Universe and Miss USA, that one. That's the Howard Stern thing. Until now, it has never been alleged that this behavior extended to the teen pageant. Can be as old as 19 or as young as 14. So many chaperones, I can't even fathom him doing so. It was very secure. These were teenage girls. Bowman said if anything inappropriate had gone on, the gossip would have flown. There was way too much security, said Crystal Hughes. Something he did, then everybody would have noticed. Asked by some of the fellow contestants, said he did enter the change room. Hughes responded, probably lying because they're voting for Hillary Clinton. Okay. I don't support either Trump or Clinton, said Bilardo. Okay. About politics. So running for president, it's one of the first things I thought about. Oh, this guy walked in the pageant. They also just scrambling to grab stuff, whatever garments they had. So it felt like his right to own the enter because he owned the pageant. Introduced herself. Fully dressed and doing her makeup, 15 at the time. So yeah, I don't know where this transactional advice stuff is coming from. That doesn't seem to be in the BuzzFeed article, and that's a different one.
He's walking on a naked teenage girls.
It was transactional in a business sense. It was transactional in a business. Yes, I can, because Trump is a businessman. He has a huge persona, publicly business essential. The girls were trying to get his input and get him to like promote or like give them advice on how to.
Yeah, so she's totally wrong and possibly lying about what Trump did here or what Trump's accused of doing here. However, that still doesn't justify doxing and calling CPS on them. Unfortunately, Dean. Unfortunately for you, Dean, being a retarded MAGA voter who will defend Trump on basically anything because they're retarded, actually does not justify trying to get their kids taken away.
Children that were naked. They can't consent to that.
Dean!
How do you know they was naked, Dean?
Hold on.
How do you know they wasn't sitting in a pair of bloomers?
Can I just say something? Hold on. Like, Dean, are you going to listen or are you just going to be, like, just...
Interrupt?
Like, are you gonna listen to us, Dean? Like, be honest, because I'm like, what, my age?
No, listen. I mean, he's talking about some like business
Having
transaction
no
with
clothes
looking at
on.
naked
I
children.
have
That doesn't mean undergarments, dude.
article with those exact words. I'm not making it up. That is the exact words. I have the clip. It's
But the children can the children. But you
Alright, I wanna throw
child's
this on
bodies
there
are not
real
transactional.
fast.
Well, I mean, I think that both you and your wife had made a handful of things clear in this conversation. But you have now redefended Trump.
Child's bodies are not transactional. What does that even mean, dude? What does that? What is it even? You're just grandstanding. You're actually just virtue signaling. That like doesn't actually even mean anything. Child's bodies are not transactional. What is that? How can a body be transactional anyway? That doesn't make any sense. Can't be used in transactions. Well, it's not true because we allow kids to work. So I mean, like it's just like so retarded. Like what are you even trying to say there, Dean?
3 times, walking into a changing room with naked teenage girls by saying that the parents consented. You even then agreed to this for a 4th time as it related to the question that Jerry just asked you, once again reaffirming that they're within their rights and abilities to consent on behalf of the children for exploitation from other adults. As well as your wife, Shania, I mean, she even repeated that she believes that it was a transactional occurrence. Both parties were reaping some benefit. And in other words, she is saying that the bodies, the naked bodies of children are transactional.
Dean, answer the question. By law, is that exploitation?
Well, he didn't even claim that the husband and wife, he didn't claim that the couple said that CP was art. He said someone else on the panel said CP was art. And he's using that to justify calling CPS on them.
I think that is exploitation, yeah.
Do you think Brooke Shields was...
Dean, did those words come out of my mouth?
Do you think Brooke
Dean,
Shields
was
when she posed on a Calvin Klein poster underage, holding her breasts without a shirt on?
Who did that? Because yeah, that's wrong. They shouldn't have done that. That's wrong. Bad. Don't do that.
Was she exploited?
Yes.
What by what law?
What? Now we're talking about some like actual naked.
She was on Times Square.
Yeah, we're talking about some underage naked teenager with her boobs out in Times Square. Exploitation. She's exploited.
And do you think that
law? Do you guys disagree? Like naked teenager with her boobs out on Times Square, was she exploited?
Yes.
I think it's art. I think it's
now they're calling it art.
Beautiful photo.
Now they're calling it beautiful art.
That was on Times Square. That was perfectly legal.
You just called child pornography art, by the way.
That you just called child.
Don't be smug. Do not dare be smug.
I can't believe it. She literally just called CP art.
Smug.
That's why I'm not being smug. That's what she said.
But Dean, what I'm asking you, if it was child porn, do you think that it would be legal? Because there's laws against child porn. Do you think it would be legal to put child porn up on Times Square?
I think that it was probably either ignored or not illegal at the time. That doesn't change that it is child porn.
In your opinion, it's child porn.
Yeah, because it's a naked teenager with her boobs out.
She's not naked. She has a pair of Calvin Klein jeans on.
But just no shirt on?
And she's got her hands covering her breast. She's not showing her breast.
Yeah,
I still classify
it's kind of like a woman walking around with side boobs.
Well,
you know?
the reason it's not like that is because she's literally not a woman.
So, do you think that's child exploit? I mean, if that's against the law, like child porn is?
I don't even think that needs to be against the law to be child exploitation.
Wow. Yeah, get Dean. Yeah, let's pull up Nirvana cover, Dean. Like, I don't know what photo they're even talking about, what Times Square thing they're talking about, so I'm not going to stake a stance on that. But the idea that, oh, well, it's a naked kid, so therefore CP. It's like, well, I'm sure you don't think that about the Nirvana album cover, do you? So, while I'm sure this might be weird as fuck and whatever, you don't hold that as your only barometer, clearly. Yeah, and this isn't the same person either. This literally isn't anything to do with the fucking parents. Give your take on this in 20 seconds. I want to know if it's ass. Dean is a disgusting, doxing and brigading piece of shit and should honestly probably catch a ban.